Hey, fellow fit vegans, or soon to be ones. I'm sitting here with Petra, and today we're going to be discussing how Petra lost 26 pounds in the last 6 months and essentially got in the best shape. So, Petra, thank you so much for your time. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, thank you.
Cool. Petra, as I told you before there in the quick introduction there, super awesome achievement that he had, but this wasn't always the case that he just lost. That this didn't happen overnight with the 26 pounds. So tell me more about your situation before meeting me and before starting the program. How did it feel like with your weight loss journey, and what have you tried before essentially we met each other?
I had two kids. They are now 8 and 5. And ever since getting pregnant and breastfeeding and then having another kid, my weight has just been higher than I would have liked. And I was very busy. I have my own business. I have two kids. I'm a single parent now. And it was very tricky to find an avenue to find the time and the motivation to do all this. I realized that I had all the tools in my head. I knew what to do, but I just wasn't ready somehow to take the next step to implement them. And I tried intermittent fasting for a while, and that worked somewhat, but it was never really, not really big impact, and it wasn't lasting. And so I thought to myself that I would need someone or something to be accountable to. And that's when I stumbled upon you. Yeah.
Cool. So before working together, before stumbling upon me, what were your frustrations at that point? You told me before you tried multiple things, and tell me more about that situation that you were in at that time.
It was, well, it's frustrating because I had little time, and I felt like all the other, programs or what were telling me that I needed to work out 2 hours a day and do like special meal plans here and this and that and special. And I just don't have the energy or time to really do that. And so I was looking for something that was feasible and doable, that I could actually get done. Because by now I have a good idea when I look at something, is this something that I can really maintain long term? Or is this something that I can do for 3 weeks and then it's going to be too much and overwhelming and then I'm just going to quit? Because we're all humans and we think, well, I sometimes think, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I realize, no, this is way too much work or too much effort. And it really doesn't fit into my overall life, because that's the goal, was always to find something that is sustainable long term and not just to lose weight super quickly and then go back to what I was doing before and then gain it all back. That's not what I want to do. So not interested in the whole yo-yo thing and eating a special diet for a certain amount of time and then what? And then I didn't want to go back to what I was doing before, because clearly that didn't work. So that's why I like this program, because it was encouraged to do it in a healthy way with support from you and also the other people in the program. That was really helpful to see how they had implemented certain things, the struggles they were going through, and it just makes you feel less alone, and you get ideas of maybe what it's normal to struggle in the beginning, maybe, or to have cravings or whatever, that it's just normal and that you can get over it, because you see other people that have done it, and now I'm here and I did it. So that's really fantastic. Fantastic feeling. So
That came full circle, because now you're motivating the others in the group. That's really nice to see. But Petra, let's say at that moment that you were in, kind of like, let's say 6 months ago, before you started the program, at that point, did you think that the results that you're seeing right now was possible?
Yes and no. I had hope that it would be possible, because in the past, when I was 10, 15 years younger, I was able to do changes and be, follow a certain path to reach a goal, but I wasn't sure if now I could still do that now. And one thing that I always hated or thought that I was never going to do is counting calories. And that was, I told myself that I will never count calories. I will just not do that. And that's exactly what I did. And that honestly made the biggest difference for me, because I just realized how much I was eating, what I was eating, even though I knew certain things weren't necessarily good in terms of from a caloric, balance. But I just never thought it was making such a big impact as it actually did. And even that was for me the biggest struggle in the beginning, is to realize, I'm doing something that I thought I was never going to do. And then facing the reality of what I was doing was really not working. And that was really eye-opening. And so now, and also I got to say, with the app that you are supporting with this program is really making it easy. Because if you had to weigh everything and then figure out, okay, how many calories does this have, and then that would just be incredibly labor intensive, and I was not willing to do that. But with the app, it was a lot easier. So it was manageable, even though I struggled in the beginning for sure. But it got easier over time. So that was helpful. So yeah.
There's that initial learning curve. Yeah, yes. That was very good. There's that initial learning curve, and especially I think also that confrontation that you go through in the beginning, where it's like, okay, what I've done wasn't working in the past. I know that I need to do something different, but then when it's time to do something different, there's always some initial hesitation that one is going through, because you really have to face kind of the mirror head on. It's like, okay, now we need to do this so we see some different results, because definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Because I love baking, and I love, sweets and cakes, and not that I ate it all the time, but I bake with my kids. And so to kind of say, okay, that's having to face the reality, even though I already knew this, but that it's really not that great for me, was hard. And it was not something I wanted to see at all. And so that was necessary and hard at the same time. So now if I do eat something like that, then I do see that it's just sorry for the barking.
Vegans are watching these videos and they can understand. There's a doggy there in the place. Let's just go back to, I want to ask you something, because I remember like on one group call, you taught me like, okay, Florian, when you taught me on that initial call that you're going to set bigger goals for yourself later on in the program, I thought you were full of shit. So tell me, like, why have you thought that? Was it just because kind of when you thought about kind of achieving your goals or being at the place you're in right now, it just felt like so many things, or it just felt, impossible? Or what was the sentiment that you felt like when I told you that initially on our call, that you're going to achieve the goals, and more than that, you're going to set bigger goals for yourself?
Well, first I thought, well, you want to, get me to join. So you're going to just tell me, oh yeah, that's not a big deal. You can do it, no problem. And I'm like, you don't know me. This is all, you're full of shit. But at the same time, I wanted to believe you. And clearly you had other people that had gone through this and that had reached their goals. So I was much more willing to try something because I felt you were really genuine, and it didn't come across as just a sales pitch. And I felt like you really knew what you were talking about. And also that the whole program is vegan made me also more motivated to join, because other programs that I've seen were, telling me, or not me personally, but like they tell you to eat like only meat, or only, stuff that I don't want to eat, or eggs and stuff that I know don't go well with my body, and for many different reasons that I don't want to consume. So that's, and I was hesitant because I had tried certain things, and even I knew how to do it, I wasn't able to implement. So I'm like, okay, what makes this so special? Like, why do you think that you can achieve this with me? And now I know, because it's the accountability and the support, really. And it's a positive support. It's not a, oh, you didn't eat, or you're right, like you're bad or anything. No, it was actually the opposite. And yeah, and that was really, it was never, you never made me feel like I was doing something wrong, or anyone for that matter. You're always supportive and focused on solutions rather than focusing on what went wrong. And I thought that was really, really excellent. And of course I couldn't know this in the beginning, but I could tell that you were genuine, and that's what you were wanting to achieve. And that if you believe so strongly in it, then I wanted to believe in that too, because I had this, thought that I could potentially do this. And that's what made me try. And I thought, I've tried other things in the past, or I've taken a vacation somewhere, and now this is really the time that I want to spend on me, because it's for my health, it's for my kids, like for my energy, for all these things that I want to achieve in my life. And it is now time. And you can't achieve great results without putting in some work. Like, that's irrational. Nobody, everybody understands that that's not can happen. I mean, it sounds great if you can just think, I can take this pill and I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Like, but that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So, yeah, so that's what I thought. That's what made me join, because I could tell that it was real. Yeah.
I think it was also because, look, hope you don't mind me sharing, you work in the field of medicine. You specialized in this. Obviously, you're very competent at what you're doing. So it was also like, okay, why does this guy that I just met from the internet can help me with that solution? But glad you made that leap of faith initially. So Petra, how was it like, during the program? You alluded to before that initially in the program it was hard to really adapt, to make some changes with your lifestyle. Tell me how it felt like later on in the program, or what was your experience kind of joining it?
So living with two little kids, it's sometimes really challenging to make stuff that they will eat that is also what I want to eat and what is also healthy. So I just totally had to kind of separate the two. So what do I want to eat for myself, and not eat their leftovers, and if they don't eat just eat it so it doesn't go to waste. So I just had to make the realization that what they want to eat or not eat is really their choice, and what I want to eat is my choice. So we're eating at the same time, but we're not necessarily eating the same thing. And that was a big thing that I had to figure out in the beginning, because otherwise there was just no way, because they would not eat, a plate of vegetables, and they want to eat something else. So I had to find a kind of a compromise in terms of how I wanted to do that. And initially I felt almost like guilty that I'm not making food for everybody, and I'm not including them in this, but the reality is just they would not be wanting to do what I was wanting to do, right? So I was so that was a big revelation. And but later on it started to become more easy. It became easier because I started to have certain ideas. And I remember in the beginning I was still trying to maybe do intermittent fasting and not eat breakfast, and then I realized I was getting so hungry that I then was overeating when I did eat. And maybe for some people that does work, but for me it just didn't, because then I was eating later in the day more stuff which was not working for me than for sleeping. And when I started eating breakfast regularly and that really making the time and the effort and consciously eating that gave me a much better base to then go through the day and have kind of a consistent level of food intake, not all the time, but like at certain times in the day. So that made me, and then I also had a better idea, okay, what am I caloric intake? What am I aiming for? What does that actually look like? What certain things can I eat that will get me to the end goal of that number that I need at the end of the day? So that was, and that's always, you change something and then you have to adapt again. And that's a constant kind of a little bit of a struggle, but it gets better all the time. So that's kind of how it was through the time. And with the tracking, that was, now it's just second nature. What is frustrating if the app is not loading or something? So that's now the biggest frustration. But other than that, it's fairly easy. I have my recipes that I make all the time. I have them loaded so I can adapt them very quickly. And let's say I make roasted chickpeas or something, it's already in there. If I now use peppers instead of carrots, I can just take the peppers out and put the carrots in, or whichever, and it's very easy. I don't have to do everything new again. So that's a really good feature, and that saves a lot of time, because at the end of the day, I want to just sometimes sit down and just eat and not have to, like, figure out, okay, do I have, how many grams of this do I have? Because that's really annoying. But yeah, so that's kind of how it went through.
It sounds like the first thing that you were alluding to about, which is something that is quite common, is it sounds like first you had to learn kind of do as a mother to also put yourself first, or not first,
Absolutely.
but just kind of make time for yourself and see that essentially working on yourself or making sure that your health and fitness is on point is actually something that's also beneficial for your family. This is correct?
Absolutely. And I do think we should put ourselves first, because if we always put the kids first, then we totally lose ourselves. And I've been working on other things. Like I've been working on my emotional strength, my spirituality before, all like internal stuff, but my outside, my physicality, I hadn't tackled yet, or I didn't really know how to do it. And then starting this program really has helped me. Well, it hasn't helped me. It has changed how I do this. And also me committing and saying, yes, you know what, I want to be healthy for my family. I want to lose weight and be healthy and be able to run up the stairs without being out of breath, which is before I was not able to do. And even though I wasn't terribly unhealthy, I'm way healthier now than I was back then. And not only am I just eating less, I'm actually eating healthier now than I was eating before. So it's not just I'm eating 3 Oreo cookies a day and then I reach my caloric intake. No, I'm actually eating stuff that will fill me up, that is nutritious, and that will get me to the goal where I would like to go. And that's really what I wanted to achieve, and I did with your help. So that was really awesome, or is awesome.
Cool. You were alluding to also how your life looks like there a little bit. I know you told me personally that you feel lighter right now. It's easier to walk or run up the stairs. Tell me, like, how is your life right now different than how it was, let's say, 6 months ago?
I just feel way better. I can wear clothes again that I had these pregnancy clothes. Okay, so that I had these clothes that I wasn't able, I put all my other clothes in storage, because at some point I realized that I was kind of giving up a little bit at that point. And I said, okay, I'm going to put away all my like pre-pregnancy clothes away, because they're just taking up space. I'm not using them. I had a second child. I was pregnant again, and you're breastfeeding. And it's just like, it took, it's going to take a year or two to kind of get back. If at all, it changes your body, definitely. But, and then I realized that all my clothes now that I have are so big that I wasn't even able to wear them anymore. So now I go back to my other clothes, and I have stuff that now I can wear that I haven't worn in 8 years. And I need now new pants, because these pants that I have now that were in storage are too big. So, which is good. I feel way more confident. I feel like as a health professional now, I can really stand there and say, okay, you know what, take care of your health. Like, what can we do to support my patient's health to be better? I felt like I was lying sometimes when I was telling people to work out or to eat healthy, and then I was overweight. It wasn't, horrible, but I always made the excuse, oh, I had kids, and which is true, like that really changed things. But at some point I almost like missed the point of getting back into myself. And so now I feel much more authentic as a healthcare professional, to also be able to say, to champion for my own patients and say, okay, how can we make this happen for you. And that's really awesome. And I can now, yeah, like I said, I can walk my dogs, no problem. I can run up and down the stairs if I want to. I can, without being out of breath. I have more energy in general. I don't, my sleeping schedule is better. It just had a really effect on everything in my life, I gotta say. And I'm glad I did all this emotional work beforehand, so to kind of, you know, be more confident in myself. And so, but now I also feel it in my body. So I feel like everything is coming together now, which is what I was really hoping to achieve. And that's what I did. So that's really awesome.
Well done, Petra. What would you say? You have a discussion right now with Petra 6 months ago. But let's say a person similar to Petra is watching this video right now, but not the current Petra, the Petra 6 months ago. Which kind of advice would you give, let's say, old Petra?
I would say to not get overwhelmed, because sometimes big goals can seem very overwhelming and not achievable. And that little changes, if done in a conscious way, like in a determined, like, no, that's the wrong word. Like if you have a plan in mind, and if you take the right steps at the right time, even though they're small, they are going to lead you to where you want to go. And deep inside, I knew I could achieve this, because otherwise I wouldn't have started it. But I was hesitant. I had questions. I had doubt, for sure. And to go back and say, you know what, you got this. You have the support you need. And if you take little steps at a time, everything will fall into place, because really the program works. It all makes sense. And that's what's going to get you to the end goal. I had no time. I felt like I have no time to do anything. I have no time to work out. And I think I already told you, I have no time to go to the gym. So if you're telling me that we're going to be in the gym for an hour each day, it is not going to happen. Then this is not the right program for me. And you came up with ideas how I can, you know, work out from home. Like I don't even have to leave my house. I can do stuff that we're able to, you know, get my metabolic rate up, to gain some muscle mass, and that was feasible. It was feasible. Because if it's so far out of your comfort zone that you're going to have to stretch so far that you don't even know how to do it, then that's not helpful. So if anyone else is in this space where you feel like it just seems like too much, like you have no time, you're really busy at work, you have a family, you have this and that. I was in that space, and by making really little changes bit by bit, that really got me to the goal. And for me, the main part was the support and the accountability from you that really got me through. So that was yeah, and not in a did you do this now? No, but in a supportive way, like to say, you know, how can I support you in this, or what else can we do to help you achieve your goal? And then refocusing on what is the goal, why do I want to achieve this goal, what, you know, not just like, oh yeah, it would be nice, but like really thinking about, okay, why, what is the thing, like, is it for myself, is it for my fitness, is it for looking good, or like for my family, or all these things. And just being aware and reminding myself of that, why, that is the main driver really behind everything, I think.
A question. Before you kind of started kind of focusing on yourself or taking action, was there some procrastination involved? Like how long has this already been a goal of yours to get this dialed in? And
oh God,
follow-up question, what would you tell a person that is on a similar situation as you were in? Let's say, because I'm asking you, but because normally there's a tremendous amount of procrastination involved, and you know that you have to do something, but for some reason it's very hard to take that first step. what would you tell that person? First of all, like, how was your procrastination story? And then what would you tell the person in a similar situation?
I procrastinated for years. So my youngest kid is now 5. And I would say, it's been at least 4 years of procrastination when I know, okay, I want to do something. I don't quite know how. And then it's like, screw it. I'm just gonna, is this maybe how I am? Maybe, I feel bad. Maybe I'll just eat some chocolate. Or I was an emotional eater. So some people, when they get stressed or emotional, they don't eat. And I'm the opposite. Like I try to, I guess, realize I can console myself with food, or used to, not that don't do that anymore. So I felt stressed, I ate food. I was bored, I ate food, and I was, if I liked something, I had 2 or 3 plates of it because I just thought it was so good. And for no reason, like it was not really that I needed this food. I clearly did not need all this food, but it was definitely part of that. And then you think, I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to get myself this whatever cake or hold on, my light's going out. Let me treat myself to this. I deserve this, and really I was always sabotaging myself and making it worse rather than better. I also had a separation from my ex, and that was emotionally really hard. So that was in that time as well. So I think that was part of my safety net, was the food in a way. And getting over that emotionally first was for me very important. And then being ready. Like I think to go on a journey like this, you need to be ready. You need to be wanting to do this. If you're sort of halfway, kind of like, yeah, I could do it, but I feel kind of comfortable. So for me, that kind of suffering, if you will, for a while was almost necessary to now realize, that's not what I want. I did that. It did not work out for me. I was not feeling good. That I don't want to be in that spot anymore. I want to move out of that and go into a space where I feel healthy and happy and ready to tackle the world. So that's what I think. So it's been 4 years. So that's the first question, I guess. For someone else, is the question for someone else who is procrastinating, like what?
Well, let's say you were in that point, because I think to some degree we all make that decision that they're like, yeah, I could focus on this, but what if my life actually gets worse by achieving that goal? Because are you really self-sabotaging? You think about, okay, maybe I really like food, maybe I'm just the way I am, or that is how I will be forever. What would you tell that person? Let's say, Petra, you're already sabotaging yourself for 2-3 years. And then new Petra comes, it's like, if you just had a few sentences to tell old Petra, what would you tell her?
It's not worth it. The self-sabotage is not worth it. It's not getting you where you want. And by changing, really, in the end, little things, and you really look at the value of what do you value in life? Like, do you put cake over being healthy and feeling good? Absolutely not. And if you really look at it that way, it makes sense. But in the moment, you might feel like, yeah, whatever, it's not gonna, if I'm 20 pounds overweight or more, eating 2 pieces of cake is, I deserve this. I'm treating myself. But really, that's not helpful in the end. I think everybody needs to be ready to take that step and to really commit, but it's all absolutely doable. And it's worth it in the end, because self-sabotage is never good. In emotionally, like physically, it's not, you're not reaching any goals if you're self-sabotaging yourself.
Cool. Petra, thank you so much for your time today and to share a little bit about your story. Before we end this interview, is there anything that you wanted to talk about? Maybe you have some questions, or maybe you just like to share a story or a sentence for people that are right now, for fellow vegans that are in a similar situation as you.
I would definitely recommend people who want to make a change in their life and they are serious about wanting to make the change, even if they don't know how to make the change, to give this a go, because it really did change my life in the best way. And I would, if it's losing weight or if it's gaining muscle, and I've seen it in other people who've done this, you can achieve what you set your mind to, and with your help, it's definitely possible. So I would definitely recommend this program. I thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much as well, Petra. It's been a pleasure working with you. Already told you this before. We push the record button there, but I think you did a tremendous job. And fellow fit vegans, thank you so much for tuning in for this interview, and I see you all in the next video, or maybe when you decide to schedule a call. So, all right, wishing you a great day. Bye-bye.